Welcome to the Central Ohio Creators Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Jett, and I'm joined by my co-host here, Marquis Arnold. In this podcast, we aim to shine a spotlight on the diverse and talented creators in Ohio, giving them a platform to share their stories, projects, and inspirations. I want to give a shout out to our featured artist of the day, DJ Junior Jag, for blessing us with the intro music today. The song is called Horns. You can find his song on all music platforms, and be sure to check out more of their work on Instagram at DJ Junior Jag as well.
That's right, Kevin. We believe that every creator deserves their moment to shine, and we are excited to showcase the vibrant, creative community right here in Central Ohio. From artists and musicians to writers and entrepreneurs, we want to hear from them all.
Absolutely, Marquis. I couldn't have said it better. And on today's episode, we want to give you a glimpse of what's to come on Central Ohio Creators Podcast. We'll be talking about our vision for the show, highlighting some of the amazing creators we have lined up, and sharing our own creative journeys as well.
It's going to be a fantastic ride, Kevin. I can't wait to dive into the stories, struggles, and successes of our fellow creators. I know we're going to learn so much from each and every guest we have on the show.
And that's really the beauty of it, Marquis. So we're not just here to showcase talent. We're here to inspire and connect with our audience, building a community of creatives who support and uplift each other. So get ready to be inspired, entertained, and maybe even discover your new favorite artist or project that you didn't know anything about. Okay, Marquis. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is the introduction to the Central Ohio Creators Podcast, so it's only right that we enlighten our viewers on who we are and what made us put this whole show together. My name is Kevin Jett. Some may know me as just Jett or Taking 3 Vibes. My hometown is Cleveland, Ohio, but I grew up on the east side of Columbus. I've always considered Columbus my home, and it's a great feeling seeing how much Columbus has grown since I've gotten older. A little bit more about me: I'm an event planner / host in the esports gaming industry with a passion for shining light on the God-given talents in others. Through the handful of events I've put together so far, I've made some great connections, and I'm excited to make many more through doing this podcast. Growing up as a gamer, my perspective on it was always just it being a form of entertainment. You can credit that to me being an only child. But as I've grown older and gotten into this esports space, it's been a canal to help me connect with the city in a way that I never would have imagined. I guess all of the hours in the lab are finally starting to pay off. And through putting these events together, I've realized how many talented and gifted people are gamers just like me. The world needs to know more about our creators right here in our own city. Is so clear. Our hopes with this podcast are to shine as much light as possible on those true innovators and creators and people who are pushing our city and state forward. I can't wait to meet all of you.
Thanks for sharing that, Kevin. I'm Marquis Arnold. I go by Ohio Keys. I am born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. I grew up on the north and east side of the city. I'm a communications specialist / author. I have always had a connection to the local music scene because of my father, my godfather, and my uncle. I believe in giving people the spotlight to tell their stories because we all have a story to tell. We just need the platforms to tell it. I'm a news journalist for a new television company called the Black Opal TV Network that was started right here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm all about giving people the opportunity to show their talents to the world. I recently finished a children's book, and I'm currently looking for an illustrator right now. For me, the COC podcast is about giving people their flowers in Ohio and showing the world that Ohio has some of the most talented people in the world. This show is bigger than me and Jett. This is for the state to see that there's people out here paying attention to everyone's grind, and we want to be the ones to give flowers to the people who deserve it. We are paying attention to all content creators in the city.
So I'm curious, Marquis, and I'm sure some of our viewers are as well. What is your children's book based on, and what inspired you to want to write a book for children? It's not every day that I come across an author, let alone one that's written a children's novel. So tell us more about your book.
Okay, so the children's book I'm writing is about this dinosaur that moves into a neighborhood and goes to this new school in the middle of a school year. He's having trouble making new friends because he's new, and he came in through the middle of the school year. So I just wanted to make a book where kids can feel like they can I'm sure that there's kids out there who can relate to being a new student. So this book is to help those students. For me, I've always wanted to write a children's book. I love to write and read. So for me, it was about creating a book that could resonate with the next generation of children. Because for our generation, we had so many books like Goosebumps. We've had like the Captain Underpants books, and then Hose and To Kill a Mockingbird. I'm trying to like write a book on that.
Okay. That's awesome. That's powerful, really, because you named out quite a few of those books that I definitely remember vividly. And I definitely know a thing or two about being the new kid in the new school district too. So now that's awesome to hear. I love that. My next question for you, you had mentioned that you had a strong influence in music from your family and, you know, just growing up in the city. So what exactly does your dad, your godfather, and your uncle do in the Columbus music scene that is so impactful for you?
So for me, like these three played a big part in the Columbus, Ohio music scene. My dad was part of the Columbus mob, who was signed to a local record label that got worldwide recognition. They actually had an album that debuted in the Billboard 200, and they landed at number 60. And they had 3 compilation of those albums. And my dad did his own solo album. He goes by the Jackster, and he was in a group called Jack and Jill that was within the Columbus mob. My godfather, he goes by DJ O'Sharp. He's a DJ here in Columbus. He hosts events called The Redo, which is dope. They have them every third Sunday in the month at the Avalon. And then my uncle, BHB, he's a DJ here. He used to host the Ohio Hip Hop Expo. He also teaches kids how to break dance. BHB stands for Brothers Helping Brothers. It's a nonprofit. And that's where I got like my connection to the Ohio music scene from.
That is awesome, man. So, I mean, you go from the children's book to actually having like a real presence with the Columbus music scene. I don't get to hear that too often. I think like everybody, usually when you speak about like Columbus music, everybody's mind always goes to Bow Wow because he was like the big mainstream artist. But that's really dope to hear like some of the more local and like other artists that maybe didn't get as much shine. But like you said, though, Pop's even got some worldwide recognition. So that's hot, and I love to hear that. Now, you mentioned that you're also a news journalist as well for the Black Opal Network. So what kind of news do you all cover there, and how did you get into that line of work?
Okay, so the Black Opal TV Network is a company that was started right here in Columbus, Ohio by a woman named Queen. Shout out to Queen for everything. I met Queen on Facebook. Last year, I made this post that said, people in Columbus, Ohio support popularity and not talent. And I started getting blown up by musicians, authors, poets, painters, radio stations, different podcast hosts about me coming on talking about that. The Queen was the one that I like connected with the most, and we started connecting. And at the Black Opal TV Network, I'm like a news journalist, and I work for 614 We Buckeye TV. And we cover everything. Right now, we're focused on the Knights of the Roundtable podcast, which is going to blow people's minds. It's an amazing conversation of Black men discussing problems in our community, and we touch on pretty much everything. We just finished filming the first episode, actually.
That's heavy right there. Can I get an invite to that? Because that's something I want to be a part of.
Definitely, you can get an invite.
Man, please let me know when y'all doing the next one for that. Now, other than growing up in Columbus, where does your true sense of connection to the city come from? Is there anything specific? I'm sure you know, a lot of people in Columbus love to talk down on the city.
Yeah.
So being someone who grew up here and still lives here, what really connects you to the city?
What connects me to Columbus, Ohio is just being able to I can say that being born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, Columbus is a great city. Like, I don't care what anybody says. There's so much to do here in our city with the arts, the music, the movies. There's so many creatives here in the city. And like, there's a huge culture here that the world has no idea of. Like, there's more to Columbus than Ohio State Buckeyes and just like the good places to eat around the city. There's like amazing talents here. Like growing up, I was going to all like the hip hop festivals with my dad to seeing him perform, going to different clubs and just being able to connect with the local scene here and seeing different artists and painters. And it's just like, our city really does have a great story to tell. And I think the world is ready for Columbus, Ohio.
That's awesome to hear that. I love to hear like people speak highly about the city because I feel the same way. Like there's just so much motion, so much so much creativity going on out here in the city. And a lot of people are still kind of sleeping on it, but I do see that people are starting to wake up.
People waking up for sure.
And then not to mention too, we got a lot of people moving from other states and cities starting to come and add to the pot. Like it's dope to see the direction that Columbus is headed in. Now, my last question for you. You said you go by Ohio Keys. Other than being from Ohio, of course, why do you go by that, and where did that come from? Is there like something more to it?
Okay, so the Ohio Keys stands for over here, I'm original. So with the Ohio Keys, like I love Ohio just as much as Jay-Z loves New York, just as much as Lil Wayne loves New Orleans. Like for me, Ohio is everything. This is the heart. This is the home, especially with Columbus, Ohio being the middle of the map and the capital of Ohio. Like Ohio for me is everything. So I wanted to make sure that that is a part of me and who I am when it comes to like representing Ohio and my my first name being Marquis and just adding the Keys, Ohio Keys. I also used to write raps, so that all just came together. I was like, let me just bring that back.
That's dope. I love that. I love the end of them too. Over here, I'm original. I always like stuff where it's like a message behind the message. So you see Ohio, but it even means something more as well. So that's dope, man. I love to see that.
So Jett, I'm curious, since you're known as Tekken 3 Vibes, what drew you to the Tekken series of games?
That's a good question. So what drew me to the Tekken series of games, honestly, was the aspect of it being a 3D game. So hence, the name Tekken 3 Vibes. For those who don't know, Tekken 3 is when they installed the 3D aspect. Up until that point, it was basically just like 2D, left or right. So with Tekken 3, you were able to now like sidestep, like step in a circle around the map. So it added a new aspect to the game. Also to the graphics of it were more like thorough since it was 3D now. As a kid, it just blew my mind. Like, whoa.
It's dope.
Yeah.
So who is your favorite Tekken characters and why?
Favorite Tekken character, without a doubt, is Forrest Law for sure. So for those that don't know, just about every fighting game from back in the day and even today still has like Bruce Lee inspired characters. So for me, Forrest Law is my favorite character. He's the son of Martial Law. And Forrest Law is basically like that, what is it? There's a Bruce Lee movie specifically that he like kind of like embodies. He's like the younger version of Bruce Lee. So that's my favorite character, hands down, Forrest Law.
It's amazing. Bruce Lee, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That's like Enter the Dragon classic.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
What do you think sets Tekken apart from other fighting games?
So what sets it apart from other fighting games, I would say definitely that 3D aspect was something that they really were one of the first ones to bring to the table. But then also, too, in my opinion, I feel like they had a bigger focus on the variance in actual fighting styles. So, like, you think of some of your other popular fighting games, they maybe didn't have as much focus on the actual fighting style that the character was based after. Whereas in Tekken, it was a little bit more clear on what fighting style each character used, and they were a little bit more original and authentic with, displaying that while you played the game. So that's what I think sets them apart from other fighting games.
No, that's dope. Do you have a favorite Tekken game in the series? If so, which one and why?
So without a doubt, I mean, it's Tekken 3 Vibes for a reason, right? You know what I'm saying? Gotta go Tekken 3. It's my favorite one in this series, man, because I believe it came out in 98 for the PlayStation 1 in America. And I just remember being a 90s baby. And as a kid, my dad had it. He had every PlayStation there was. So when he brought that Tekken 3 home in and popped it in, my mind was just blown like, whoa, this is different. You know what I mean? So from there, I was hooked. And then they came out with Tekken Tag Tournament, which was like 99 on the PlayStation 2. And that was like Tekken 3, but on steroids. It was like,
what about that?
It was like smoother graphics, a little bit smoother with the gameplay. So after that one, I was just hooked. They had me after that. Like
that Tekken Tag, I remember that.
I'm telling you, that was that one. Yeah. And then the fact, not to mention, you could swap out two characters. You could pick two characters to play with. I mean, it was just better for that reason alone.
I think, was that the first time two characters could be swapped out like that?
Yeah. That was the first one they brought out like that, too. So, I mean, they were just innovative, man. That's why, Tekken was where it was at.
Yeah, I guess you could say that kind of the Dragon Ball Z game totally copied that.
A lot of games did too. I mean, Mortal Kombat has had some tag elements. I know you got like Street Fighter versus Marvel, yeah, yeah, got all that kind of stuff. All of them, you know, they've all taken their turns with it, but man, that Tekken tag wasn't nothing like it though, baby. Wasn't nothing like it.
What did you find the most challenging about playing Tekken?
Most challenging aspect about Tekken, I would say, is just putting together your combos. So like with some of the other games, I guess, and it's just my opinion, but I would say like it's a little bit less of a string of combos that you put together. Maybe like 3, 4, maybe even 5 hits maximum. But like Tekken had like 10 hit combos that was like literally all direction and stuff associated. So and then granted, this is just my opinion, but I felt like the true aspect of it is whoever really knew how to put together them long combos, they're the hardest people to beat because you got to literally wait till they get done to get a turn in or hope that they mess up on the, putting it in. So I would say just mastering the combos, like the lengthy combos, is probably the challenging part for me.
Though, have you ever competed in any of the Tekken tournaments or events?
So funny enough, up until this point, before I got like really serious about the esports space, I never really was into the tournaments like that. It's funny because like growing up, like I said earlier, I always viewed it as just like a source of, form of entertainment.
Yeah.
And then too, not trying to toot my own horn, but like I was the like best, the biggest gamer in the family. So nobody really wanted to play me like that. Like they already knew they was going to play me, they was going to lose. So it never really got to that point. But since I've been doing some of the esports events and like hosting events, I've taken it a little bit more serious, and like now I've been going to some of the places that we have around the city that's like gamer focused. I know we do things like Tuesday through Thursday in the city. So since I've been more tapped in with the esports space, I've been going there and doing some tournaments and things. And yeah, I'm running into some real competition now. They teaching me a lesson or two.
Yeah, like the gaming community in Columbus is big.
It's serious, man. It's very prevalent. One thing I have learned through doing this is, I believe it was like maybe like 15 years ago, like in the earlier 2000s and, like maybe early 2010s, we had a really good presence in the gaming space, like on a more national scale. So I think like over time, maybe it kind of like faded a little bit, but, we're here to bring that back and, put us back at the forefront of a mecca for video games.
Oh, yeah, that's dope. Are there any Tekken characters that you find difficult to master?
Yes, there's definitely a handful I would say are tougher than others. Just for like the sake of time, I would probably so for Tekken 3, for instance, I would say Lei, aka the Super Police. He is probably one of the tougher ones to master, in my opinion, because he is a person who kind of uses the ground a lot. He'll literally lay on the ground and then come up with a move. You'll be sitting there looking at him thinking you're just going to kick him or something.
Yeah.
And he come up with a whole move off of the ground, or he has like the typical characters, you have to like back up the block or like try to sidestep to avoid stuff, jump, weave, whatever. Whereas with Lei, he literally has built-in moves where he can weave your punch and then come, like it's all in one motion. He'll weave what you do and then attack you all before, in the blink of an eye. So he's always been one of those tougher ones for me to fight against when the person really knows what they're doing. And then for myself, he's always been a tougher character for me to master. He is Jackie Chan inspired too, for those who don't know.
Wow. That leads me to my next question. How do you approach learning and mastering moves and combos in Tekken?
So without a doubt, man, you got to go to the lab. Got to go to the lab, which is just training mode, the practice mode, and put in that work. Earlier on, like when I was a kid, I think I would probably just pick it up, figure it out, maybe pause it and look at the move list. But as I got older, you got to go to the training mode. So all it is essentially is you have like, your opponent, they're standing still, and you just go down your move list, figure out how to, enter in your combos the right way. Get it to a point of repetition where it's like you can't mess it up now. Like now you know how to do it, where you catch somebody, you go hit it with that combo every time. So that's really where you go to master your new moves and combos. Even now, like on the later Tekkens, they have it where they break it down like really specific to like the frame rate. So for instance, somebody will try to like hit you with a certain move, and if you block it, it'll tell you like what moves you can return it with, or like if they do this move and they miss, is it punishable? Can you like hit them with something and there's no way they could get out of the way now? Like it's really thorough. So you got to go to the lab, putting your training, putting your hours there to master the combos. Have to.
Oh, that's super dope. What is your favorite aspect of Tekken's gameplay mechanics?
Without a doubt, and granted, a lot of other games have added it in there now too. They're not the only one anymore. But the sidestep, man, them incorporating that sidestep and giving that 3D aspect, being able to use more movement, definitely is what changed the game for Tekken. So the first two were just like left or right as well. So once that third one came out, and you were able to, jump over it, duck it, and then be able to step out of the way of it, it kind of gave an entirely new mechanic that most games weren't giving off at that time.
Oh, damn. Oh, if you could add any new feature or character to the Tekken series, what would it be?
Any new feature or character? That's a good question. Okay, so for character, all I'm saying is, can my boy Forrest Law come back for another one? We ain't seen him since Tekken Tag 2, so can you get my boy Forrest Law back in there? The current Law they have in there, he's cool, but he not as fly. Y'all know why. So I need Forrest Law back in there for the culture. And then also, too, a new feature. I don't know necessarily if there's a new feature I will want, but if there's something I could take away, if that counts, I would say like the rage art stuff and like the whole like, you gotta rush down and be in the opponent's face down aspect of the game. That's not necessarily how Tekken really was like through the first 6 ones. So it's something that they've kind of like incorporated now. I think it's more indicator to like the competitive nature of the game. But like for those who know like old school Tekken, we don't really need all of that for us to enjoy it. Like y'all could take that out of there, it'd be back perfect where it needed to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
No problem, man. Appreciate the questions. All right. Can't do this show without giving a big shout out to our team over at Next Gen Live Streams for helping us put this whole project together, providing us with a platform that we could share with you all. Without them, this wouldn't even be possible. So please make sure you follow and support them as they continue to build this platform that all of Central Ohio can benefit from.
And I have to give a big shout out to the Black Opal TV network, who we will be doing big business with soon. Follow the Black Opal TV network on all social media platforms and download the app on your Roku TV right now. Now, we do have some guest criteria that everyone must meet to be able to use our platform efficiently. You have to have a legitimate business intact that you are currently working on proof of product, proof of concept, meaning you can definitely show enterprise in the industry able to thoroughly explain social media platforms that supports the business. You can't be camera shy. You have to be willing to speak about your business in front of the world.
And now, earlier in the show, I mentioned that I am an event planner. So that means that I'm always on the lookout for upcoming events or people who have upcoming projects open to collaboration. So if this is you and you have an upcoming event in the state that you want our viewers and world to know about, reach out to us on our social media platforms and let us know what y'all have brewing in the city and state. Our DMs are always open, and we would love to let everyone know what events you have in the works and when and where they'll be. Social media links will be posted below in the description of the video.
So stay tuned, folks, because the Central Ohio Creators Podcast is here to celebrate the creativity and innovation that makes Ohio such a special place. We can't wait to share all of this and more with you. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next episode.
All right, y'all. That's all for today's episode. Thank you again for listening and checking out the Central Ohio Creators Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on social media to stay updated on all things creativity in Ohio. Until next time, keep creating.